As we enter 2025, what is the national real estate market telling us at this point? Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Deal Through Michael's Eyes. This is where we talk about business and things that should be done right. I thought by starting out the new year, let's take a look at the real estate market. This is the national scene. In a couple of days, I will distribute what it looks like here on Florida's West Coast. But let's take a look at the big picture first, and then we'll pare it down in a few days down to the local market. So this is a look at the national market. I have permission to use this data. It's provided by Keeping Current Matters. So they've given me permission and they provided the data. So let's take a look at what they have to say. In my mind, they're one of the most respected national folks that pull us together and tell us what's going on. So let's look at 4 areas. Home prices. What are the experts suggesting for 2025 nationally? Let's look at mortgage rates, inventory, availability, listings. Where is that going to head? And then let's look at the projected sales numbers for 2025. So let's look at a quote from Greg McBride here. He says, most areas still lean toward a seller's market due to limited inventory. However, those markets that have seen a surge in inventory will definitely be more of a buyer's market and will be susceptible to price declines. That's on the national basis. You'll see in a couple of days, I peeked, I already looked at the data. It's a balanced market here on Florida's West Coast, but more to follow when we get to that podcast. Let's take a look at the home price forecast. If you look at Freddie Mac, they suggest that home prices will continue to grow, but at a much slower pace. When we take a look at this, there are multiple organizations there that have made a projection. The average of all of them is an increase of 2.9%. You see a high over 5, and you see a low at -2. So when you look at it, what this tells me is the experts are not unified on a number. They may be unified on a range. So they're expecting that overall, without anything significant happening in the economy, we will see some slower, smaller price appreciation. Let's talk about mortgage rates. We're all focused on financing. So if we look at Greg McBride, and I quote, rates are abnormally low for the better part of 15 years. They were abnormally low, and they've been abnormally high for the last 2. They're coming down, but where they're going to settle out is going to be a level that's higher than what we have seen before 2022. So according to Greg, we are going to see higher than average rates. Let's look at another quote. Waiting for lower rates is not guaranteed. Over time, you'll see prospective home buyers just starting to throw in the towel and maybe walk away from the market. Let's look at the 30-year fixed mortgage rate forecast here in terms of these organizations. They're saying a little bit over 6 on average, but you can take a look at the slide. These are much more consistent than I saw on the price slide in terms of they're suggesting between 6 and 6.5% is where we're going to see in 2025. Let's take a look at a quote from Mark Palem. Heightened mortgage rate volatility may present opportunities for would-be homebuyers to take advantage of temporary lows, and we may see stretches where housing activity is boosted by lower rates. But on average, we expect mortgage rates to remain elevated and a hindrance to activity. While we think conditions on a national basis will remain challenging, we're seeing meaningful regional differences in the market conditions and the home buying experience. As the adage goes, will continue to be a local one. We'll talk more about that when we get into the local slides in a couple of days. If we look here, mortgage rates by decade, let's go back over the history. We go in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. So we see back in the 70s and 80s, rates were relatively higher compared to where they are right now. And we see them coming down in the, in the last 3 decades that we see here, the 1990s, the 2000s, 2010s. Unfortunately, in the 2020s, they're a little bit higher. So look at Lawrence Young, and I quote, mortgage rates have averaged above 6% for the past 24 months. Buyers are no longer waiting for or expecting mortgage rates to fall substantially. Furthermore, buyers are in a better position to negotiate the market shifts away from the seller's market. Let's look at inventory. What are we going to have out there to purchase? You're going to see in a couple of days on the local market, the amount of listings are high. The inventory level is higher on Florida's West Coast. But on a national scene, looking at a quote from Mike Simonson, 2025 is poised to continue the trend of rising inventory across the country. We'll probably finish 2025 with 15% more homes available than we have now. So on a national basis, they're going to catch up to us. Here locally in Sarasota, Manatee County, we've had high inventory levels lately. They're saying, suggesting here that inventory should continue to grow this year. This is just a little bit more detail on the slide that I just showed. If you look at existing homes for sale inventory forecast, Realtor.com says it'll go up about 12%, and Altos suggests 15%. This is for existing homes, not new construction. If we look at total home sales and we look at back over the past few years, you can see on the blue lines where it's come. In 2024, they had 4.6 million units. They're suggesting we'll see about 5.1 million unit in terms of sales. So we've looked at the forecast for interest rates. We've looked at what we think inventory will be available. Now we're looking at sales here right now. We've also talked about price. When you pull all this together, the complexities of the current conditions, and this is a quote from Bankrate, mean that now more than ever, it's smart to lean on the guidance of an experienced local real estate agent. If you want to enter the housing market in 2025, whether as a buyer or a seller, let a pro lead the way for you. And that's their opinion. And obviously, I support that. The market is complex, and it's not the same in Florida's West Coast as it is nationally. In the two counties that we service, in Sarasota, Manatee County, it's not the same there. You want to take a look at, are you looking to buy and sell on the islands? If so, which one? Or in the mainland? Are you coastal? Or you're more inland? Are you east of I-75 or west? Is it a home or is it a condo? It is a complex market, but you want to have the tools so that you can leverage those and so that you can win. How does that happen? You need an experienced real estate broker that not only talks a game, or that doesn't just talk a game, but actually studies the market. We show this through these podcasts that I host every month, both on a national basis and a local basis. That's exactly what we do. Every time we sit down with a buyer and seller for the first time, we talk about where the market's at. We show them the expectations out there. Is it a seller's market or is it a buyer's market? Fortunately, right now we're blended here on Florida's West Coast. But then we develop a plan specific so that that person can win. Let's talk. This is the beginning of a conversation, not the end. My personal cell, because I want all my clients to be able to reach me when it's convenient for them, because that's the way it should be. That number is 941-400-8735. Let's listen to what you're hoping to achieve. Let's talk about the right plan for you with the current market. Can a buyer win in a seller's market? Yes. Can a seller win in a buyer's market? Absolutely, the answer is yes, but it takes planning. Fortunately, right now, we're in a balanced market overall, but let's go deeper and find out where we are in the market in your area. Give me a call. I look forward to talking with you. Thanks for watching.